In France, authorities say it was an attack, this time during the national holiday Bastille Day. Police say dozens have been killed as a truck rammed into the crowds. It happened in the city of Nice, that is on the coast of southeastern France. We're joined now on the phone with Kate Rousseau in Paris. Kate, what is the latest?
Well, the latest is that the police have now announced the death toll is at 70, so at least 70 deaths this evening, and many more injured. We don't know exactly how many people were at the scene, but I can tell you it was a fireworks display to celebrate Bastille Day, which is the French equivalent or French version of Independence Day. Traditionally, there's always a large gathering of people in every big city around France. I myself have just been to see the fireworks at the Eiffel Tower, which lasted half an hour, and the same thing down in Nice. The fireworks display was held on the Promenade des Anglais, which is possibly the most famous part of this city, and there would have been a very large gathering of people there to watch the display. And what's happened is a very large truck, an articulated lorry, has actually ploughed into the crowd of people watching the fireworks display. We know there's been some gunfire. It's not been confirmed exactly who from, but we've seen pictures of the truck, and its windshield is full of bullet holes. The police have confirmed the driver was killed. We know that security services, what's known as the RAID, or RAID in English, it's a bit like a SWAT team, or anti-terror specialists, they are on site now securing the area. And President Hollande, who had been in Avignon, in another city in the south of France, he is now returning to Paris as we speak to take charge of the situation.
Kate, France just finished hosting the Euro 2016 football tournaments, and so there was some anticipation, some concern that something could happen then. Would you say that people there in France had sort of breathed a sigh of relief when that finished?
Absolutely. I am actually surprised that there weren't any attacks during the football, and I think it would be safe to say that there would have been some threats, and the security services had managed to protect us from them, and we were not told about them. I think it would be naive to assume that there were no attempts or plots to attack during the football tournament, which lasted 4 weeks as well. There were several matches held across the country in some of the most prominent football stadiums, and so some very large, potential targets with several thousand, tens of thousands of people attending each game from all over Europe. So indeed, there's an element of surprise that there's been no attack during the football, but at the same time, France now has been on high alert for so long. We've been under a state of emergency since the attacks in November. And I think the 14th of July, the French Bastille Day, the French Independence Day, I think the people would have expected something to happen today. If there's going to be an attack, it would be on a day like today. But I think what the real surprise has been here is that it's not Paris that's been the target. Paris was the scene of the Charlie Hebdo attacks in January 2015. It was the scene of the attacks in November. So for this to happen in Nice, which is a major city in France, but for it to happen outside of Paris, there is an element of surprise there. It's just not expected to happen outside, even though the French are very aware that an attack could come at any time and any place.
And Kate, we've just been watching video over your report of scenes from Nice, people running, people on the streets. Of course, we've been seeing online dead people on the ground. You said at least 70 people dead. What else have you been hearing there? I know you're in Paris, but what have you been seeing on television, seeing online?
Very much the same kind of thing. The latest pictures on French television show hundreds of people on site running away from the scene. I've just seen some pictures of bodies covered up on the promenade. And, this part of France is so popular. It's enormous. It's a very, very popular area for the French and international tourists alike. The French schools have already broken up for their summer break here, and so a lot of people could well have been in Nice for this day, for this national holiday. So I think we can expect, more casualties and more numbers to be announced throughout the evening. And I'm also expecting to hear some casualties of foreign tourists. I'm expecting to hear about some foreign tourists have been caught up in this also.
That's right. It is high season, the height of the summer. The famed French Riviera there. Nice is the largest city on the coast. Kate, have you seen or heard any reaction from other French politicians about a way forward or what they plan to do to proceed, perhaps in the investigation of what happened there? So far, we have not heard of any claims of responsibility or if this was a terror attack.
Indeed. But all the officials, the French authorities, are referring to this as an attack. So even though it's not yet confirmed, if we follow their lead and assume it is, it's too soon to tell how they will react. But what I can tell you is that Christian Estrosi, the former mayor of Nice, who is now president of the region, he has just appeared on television saying that there was an exchange of gunfire between the driver of the truck and the police. He's also mentioned some grenades. So it's a story that's very much developing. The attack, the incident happened just over, I believe, two hours ago. It's still very much developing. I think it was 10:30 local time, 3 hours, I'm sorry. But it's still developing. There is still casualties being treated. There is still news coming out. So at this stage, it's very much too soon to say how the authorities will react. But what they are saying is that there was no hostage taking. They're basically telling us what's happening on the ground, but we can't speculate yet what actions may be taken.